Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Azure Fundamental Series. We know that Azure is a cloud computing service provider. Does it mean that computing happens on the cloud? Where do the resources that we create, such as VMs, web apps, Kubernetes clusters stored? What do the terms like physical data center, regions, and availability zones mean? Let's find out in this video.
Hi, welcome back. Let's quickly look at the objectives of this video. What are we going to learn? We're going to learn what is a data center, what is the region, what does availability zone mean, importance of using availability zones in apps, what difference will it make if I use availability zone in my app, and what are the regional pairs, and then we'll look at more information on regional pairs. Okay, so that's the agenda of this video. Now let's quickly see what is a data center. Well, this is the most popular image of a data center you might have seen. So let me break it down. Let me quickly head to the whiteboard. So how things work in a data center. So data center is nothing but a physical location where um, the Microsoft stores its servers, racks, and from there the exact computing happens. Okay, so let me just quickly break down what a data center looks like. You might have already you have already seen this image. You have seen, right? You see the racks are compiled here one after the another, and there is a power cable that's there and the cooling that's there. Let me break it down here. So here is a rack. It's like an almirah, um, and within this rack, uh, hmm, all right, perfect. Here is a rack, and then within this rack there are blades. There are blades, which so it would be something like this. So these blades are nothing but servers. Uh, okay, come again. Okay, right. So uh, perfect. So it would be something like this. Okay, and all right. So any resource that we create goes ahead and sets. Microsoft places it on this rack. Okay, and this rack is connected to a socket from where it gets the power supply. Okay, it's connected to a socket. From here it gets the power supply. Okay, and similarly within the uh, data center there will be many racks like this. There will be many racks like this. Okay, and they all would be connected to a power supply. Okay, it would be, there will be racks like this, and they'll be connected to a power supply, and they'll also be connected to each other for networking. Okay, so they all would be connected with each other for networking, so that they are connected to each other. Just draw this there. Okay, perfect. And let me draw this line again. All right. So, so data center is something like this. You've got racks within which there are blades of servers that are running, and they are connected to a socket, and they are connected to a power supply as well, and then they are connected to a cooling system that cools down these racks. Okay. So now here is a cooling system. Cooling system. Let me just this is just a uh, cooling system. Okay, perfect. So this is what a typical data center, I mean, arrangement looks like. Okay, and here is a more formal image of it. So this is a data. Now let's see what does the regions mean? Okay, so region is a geographical area on the planet that contains at least one but potentially multiple data centers that are nearby and network together with a low latency network. So what I mean by that, region is nothing but an area on the planet. It can be west US, east US, or in India it can be southeast India, or central India, things like that. So it's a geographical area on the planet that contains at least one but potentially multiple data centers that are nearby, network together with a low latency network. Now, when you deploy a resource in Azure, you'll often need to choose the region where you want to your resources to be deployed. Okay, so let me quickly head to the portal and show what I mean. So let's say if I try to deploy a virtual machine, for example, okay, it would ask me, come on, yeah, once I choose the subscription and the resource group name, it will ask me for the VM name. Let's say if I gave VM123, and then there you go, it's asking me to choose a region. So it's a region, it's Asia Pacific, East Asia, Japan East, and there are list of regions from which I can choose. East US, East US 2. Okay, it's just a location. So if I choose, let's say, Japan East, then this VM would be deployed in the Japan East data center. Okay, all right. So that's what it means. Um, now we know what a data center is. We know what a region is. So within a region, Microsoft hosts its data centers. Okay, now what does availability zone mean? So availability zone is a combination of data centers that are networked together. So you can see on the screen, let me just bring this up. Yeah, all right. So this is an Azure region. So within a region, there are multiple data centers that are created by Microsoft, and each data center would be called an availability zone. Now, why does this happen? Why does Microsoft create this? What's the purpose of it? So availability zones, as I said, are physically separate data centers within Azure region. Each availability zone is made up of one or more data centers equipped with independent power, cooling, and networking. Okay, so availability zone is set up to be an isolation boundary. So it's an isolation boundary, and availability zones are connected with through high speed fiber optic networks. Okay, so they're connected. So this availability zone is connected with availability zone 2 through a high speed fiber optic cable. Okay, and this is created for the purpose of redundancy and high availability. Okay, so use availability zones to make your app and data redundant so you can fail over in case of failure. Okay, so let me go back to this slide again. So within a region, as I said, Microsoft creates multiple availability zones. So let's say within East US, for example, Microsoft would create three data centers that would be a few miles apart. Okay, and the purpose of this is to for failover and redundancy. Let's say if availability zone goes down for some reason, be it power outage or some hardware failure, then there is a second region to take care of the workloads. Okay, there is a second region to serve the traffic. Okay, so use AZs to make your app and data redundant so you can fail over in case of failure. This also means that you are making your application highly available, obviously. So we are let even if one goes down, there is another one to serve the traffic. Availability zones are primarily for VMs, managed disk, load balancer, SQL databases. Okay, so for all the IaaS workloads, or at least for these IaaS workloads, availability zones are the primary capability that you can use for high availability. Okay, now let's talk about regional pairs. Okay, what is a regional pair? So we know that a region is, it can be East US or West US. So regional pair is a offering from Microsoft where one region is paired with another. For example, let's take an example. Okay, most Azure regions are paired with another region within the same geography, such as US, Europe, or Asia, at least 300 miles away. Okay, so East US can be paired or paired with West US. Let's see. This approach allows for the replication of resources across a geography that helps reduce the likelihood of interruptions because of events. Okay, so what this the significance of this, the importance of this is, when you have one region paired with another, even if one goes down for some reason, for regional outage like national disaster, there is another region. Even if, let's say, east US goes down, west US is there to serve the traffic. Okay, so yeah, this is primarily for natural disasters, civil unrest, power outages, physical network outages. Yeah, this it's for this. Now, for example, if a region in a pair was affected by a natural disaster, as I said, services would automatically fail over to the other region in its region pair. Okay, so if this goes down, there would be this region would be available to serve the traffic, right? So advantages of regional pairs: if an extensive Azure outage occurs, one region out of every pair is prioritized to make sure at least one is restored as quickly as possible for applications hosted in that pair region. So if one goes down, there would be another one to serve the traffic. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Now, planned Azure updates are rolled out to paired regions, one region at a time, to minimize downtime and risk outage. Okay, so let's say Azure has an update that it wants to roll out. Okay, it has a new patch or a new security fix. So it won't apply that security patch or fix at the same time to both the regions, because if because of some reason, if that patch breaks something, then both the regions would be affected and the customers won't be able to access their workload. That's the reason what Microsoft does is it applies that patch or update to first region, and then if it works fine, then it would apply it to the second region. So it would be one at a time. That's what this statement is essentially trying to say. Now, data continues to reside within the same geography as its pair, except for Brazil South for tax and law enforcement jurisdiction. Okay, so data would continue to reside in the same geography, right? So yeah, that's a very short video on what is a data center, what is a region availability zone, and regional zones, all right, or regional pairs, right? Hope it was helpful.